What is up, people? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to more esports talk. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for all you people around the world, and welcome back to Call of Duty news out there. A massive debate, which we are going to start today, and you guys, of course, can leave your thoughts down below. Do you think Call of Duty League teams will be using their substitute players? As many of us are well aware, the minimum size requirement for the rosters out there was 7, maximum of 10. Most teams out there going towards the 7, yet a small few going past that 7 and upwards of 10 players. Actually brought to us yet again by Hector's latest interview with Clayster. I will link that full interview down below. Such great content and insight out there of one of the leading team's leaders out there, that being Clayster, on whether or not they think subs are going to be used in Call of Duty League. Now, they actually bring up a great few points out there, both of which who I think do not think that subs will actually be used. They first talk about General, a key member when it comes to Chicago Huntsmen, and a top-notch player out there who is a sub role for that team, which is pretty crazy to see. Behind him is obviously Mboze. They don't say much about Mboze, and I think the first discussion here, they blatantly say that General will likely not play the entire season, which drives the also curious debate when Chicago Huntsmen actually did sign Mboze of why they signed Mboze.
Who knows? Because I mean, look, this is the first year that we have subs in the game. How is that gonna work, right? Like, how do you pick which do you pick at which point? Like, we have. Obviously, General's super good at the game and be a starting
caliber player, yeah.
But how do you put him in when you have other you know what I'm saying? Like,
on a team like yours, you don't.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really. I mean, and even for a team like us, like, are we going to sub Tommy or Titian? And it's like, maybe if we're up 2-0 in London, we sub Tommy in for the third map just for the London crowd or something. But like,
and so this first debate brings up a great point. Of course, the overall question, will teams out there use their subs? I think a small few probably will. I think most probably won't, as Clayster tries to hint at how difficult that might be. And alongside that, a second question is, why did teams like Huntsmen sign a guy like Mboze if he would never play, right? Now, there are two sides to this. If he is family, he's a brother or a son to Hector Rodriguez, then yeah, you're going to cut him a check. Or maybe the other side of things, you know, if you're going to sign him and have him not play, wouldn't you want someone who is content focused or going to be hopefully helping those guys out to the best of the ability? And maybe Mboze fits that role. I have no idea, but it does definitely drive the question as if General's not going to play, and then Mboze likely certainly will not either, but who actually will play off the bench for this season of Call of Duty?
Call of Duty's always been centered on your group of guys, and it's going to take a lot of culture breaking to break that down into being 7 dudes now, not 5 guys or 4 guys or whatever it is. And that's going to be tough. I mean, I'm sure a lot of these other teams like Toronto or, you know, even like the Gorillas might sub in Blast because he's also a starting caliber player.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be some interesting substitutions, like mid-series S&D type substitutions. That's so hard to like break up the chemistry. And like, you're playing with 4 other guys all the time. And then if they're just randomly another voice who doesn't know our strats or like who maybe knows them but not like the intricacies of them, like that's going to be tough. And it's going to take a lot of breaking down walls to get to a point where those subs are going to be really useful, in my opinion, at least.
Same. When it first started, like one of the first things that I talked to General about, I'm like, dude, are you sure you want to do this? Because, you know, I don't know how it's gonna work. You know what I mean? And I obviously want you to be successful, and I obviously want you to do that. And from my perspective, I'm like, I'm gonna pick up a fucking starter as one of the subs because that's what you do. You protect the investment by making sure that you have something to do. And I guess that's the point of the sub. But at what point are you gonna be like, all right, Pierce, or Formal, S&D is just not you, dog. Let me put, you know, you can't because it is a new voice in there.
Yeah. If I get subbed out, say I just get subbed out for an S&D, and then we lose the S&D, I'm going to freak out because it's like, I got subbed out, I should be starting, I lose. So then the confidence issue comes in where it's like, they think that our sub is better than me at search. So then
if they win.
Yeah, but if they win, then they're like, oh, now they're better with him. Yeah. I'm not a starter anymore, so then I'm doubting myself. And like, so it creates this whole environment where obviously they have that in real sports, you know, and they just deal with that. But they also have decades and decades of cultural coaching to like build them up and like understand like you do whatever's best for the team. If the coach thinks that you're sitting on the bench, like that's best for the team. But like that's not how Call of Duty is right now. Call of Duty is still very egocentric and everybody's still very egotistical. And like I openly admit I have a huge ego, you know? Why even mess with it? Like why not just do what we know works? These 5 people, they're going to be the starters unless something very drastic happens and somebody breaks an arm or something, you know? And that's my opinion on it.
And again, a great in-depth discussion. I'll link it down below. Show it some love, guys, because the entire interview was just great insights insights of a lot of things, and especially of which we've talked about before, of the upcoming Call of Duty League. And so, I think Hector brings up a great point, especially when it comes to teams who took a risk on 10 players. Even then, you got to be very, I would say, fragile-minded about that, right? You're already paying extra, although I guess you could say 10 players, a lot of those rosters, or the roster we see in hand when it comes time Toronto, maybe paying a bit less for all 10, I would say across the board, as compared to having a few heavy hitters out there. Then all of a sudden you realize, okay, what if we put in two five-man rosters and they don't win in their game modes? And all of a sudden you're a third of the way into the season, you realize our strategy is not working out. I would love to see it. I think most of the teams out there will stick, as Clayster aligned to or alluded to their starting five, because when it comes to team chemistry and team comms and strats, it's just easier to retain that five-man lineup you play with constantly inside and outside of matches. Alongside that, though, when it comes time for taking the risk of a 10-man lineup splitting up into 2 individual groups, I would love to see that. I think that kind of creativity would be very fun to watch, if it works, though. And then very lastly, when it comes to Clayster bringing up the only way that most subs will play is if someone breaks an arm, I think that is generally going to be pretty true for this first season. Although I have no idea. You guys, of course, can leave your thoughts down below. What subs, if any subs, will actually play this season? I have no idea. But again, we are less than 10 days away from the first inaugural start of Call of Duty League, and I cannot be more excited to break it down every single day for all of you guys right here. Until next time, take care. Drink your coffee, drink your water. I'll be back here all day long.